as I inspect the boat's hull, I'm really looking for areas where there might be some structural integrity issues. That's really going to be some of these puncture wounds. A lot of the other stuff, whether it's blistering or some of the scrape to the top side, uh, I mean, I'm redoing the whole boat. So, I mean, from what I've read, and most of pretty much 40% after the boat, that's typically the location of some of the higher slamming forces on the boat. And kind of moving around looking for the damages, I could rank them in severity, but for this project, since I'm refinishing the entire hull and deck, it won't matter. The more severe spots will simply require repairing in the hull shell. And, the areas where the finish is cracking or pilling or blistering, a lot of that, if there's not an issue of moisture being trapped in that finishing layer, then for me it will be the sanding and then eventually the painting and the anti-foul that will go on. Now I've only noticed one of these spots, and as you can see, I'm slowly kind of puncturing it, make sure there's not any water trapped behind this layer, and it's pretty dry. So coming back and sanding it down, fixing it as if you would fix any other sort of crack or blister here on the bottom. You just want to make sure there's not any sort of absorption of water behind this whole shell or the deck's laminate. And these very small ones, usually if there is water, it's closer to the surface. Some of the larger tumors and things like that, I mean, you'll see some brown fluid, and I mean, you'll really need to puncture and press it down, and that can be a lot more severe. But so far, it just seems to be some of these smaller little scrapes and punctures. While the boat's on the hard, while I can refit, repair it, build it back up, I think I'm gonna prefer to glass everything. I think that when you glass versus just a compound, I've heard that the compound could break up around the edges, and that sort of filler plug that you put in over time will end up creating sort of halo markings, and you'll just have to go right back to it and sand it and then glass it again. So I just think while I'm at it, I'm going to prefer to glass everything and really fix for a lot of these cracks, just simply grinding them down, filling them, that will really kind of fix that local impact. The part with the sharp corners or large shape transitions and kind of the rounded or sloped inside corner, those are susceptible to cracking, and those cracks are just going to be most common on decks, and there's quite a few along the top of this west cell. The Makita 1/8 belt sander, it's great for close quarters, irregular shapes. The radius on the end all but matches most of the boat's edges, and I just think it's really going to hold up with keeping the ideal shaping. As I waited on parts and with rain coming in, I moved on to this Aries Wind vane. It's a 50-pound vane. It's situated right under the boom. These aluminum tubes sheared off during the hurricane from the mainframe. I was able to find the specifications. I was able to get them out of mainframe here. But the goal really with this wind vane is to get it back operational. When you look at other options, hydro vane, Cape Horn, spending $2,000 to $3,000 on some great options for self-steering. But if I can get everything to work, maybe even order a repair kit. But these vanes are no longer produced. The bronze bevel gears, everything seems to be in working order. Along this servo rudder spindle is supposed to be a seamless tube that runs from the lower bevel to the rudder coupling. You see here, it must have been torn away. A lot of the damage, punctures in the hull, and this is probably the go-to for anyone looking to sand down and begin to lay up some glass. But we have the Tyvek suit. We have 3M vapor cartridge that goes with the 3M mask. Look that up. Have just generic goggles. This is it's a little extra. I think it's gonna keep the shape along the deck where there's a lot of the spider cracking as well as stress cracking around the hardware. It's just a small radius sander, and of course just a basic 5-inch sander. Probably on more rougher areas go with the 80 grit before making our way down to 40 grit.